Are you kidding me right now? Did WWE just completely disrespect everything Cody Rhodes built over the past 2 years? Did they just throw away the most emotional championship reign in recent memory for a cheap shock factor? Because what happened at WrestlePalooza wasn't just a title change, it was a slap in the face to every single fan who believed in the American Nightmare's journey. Drew McIntyre didn't just beat Cody Rhodes last night, he destroyed everything that title reign represented. And the way it happened? The absolute betrayal that led to this moment? I'm about to break down every single controversial second of what might be the most infuriating championship change in WWE history, and trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to be as heated as I am right now. But before we dive into this absolute train wreck of booking decisions, I need to know, are you Team Cody or Team Drew? Because this divide is about to tear the wrestling community apart. Let's rewind to 3 months ago when absolutely nobody predicted this would happen. Cody Rhodes was riding the highest wave of his career. The man who finished his story at WrestleMania was finally getting the respect he deserved as champion. His reign wasn't just about holding gold, it was about proving that sometimes the good guy really can win in the end. Drew McIntyre, on the other hand, was supposed to be focused on his blood feud with CM Punk. Remember that whole saga? The bracelet, the friendship with Punk's wife, the absolute chaos that ensued? We all thought Drew was going to be tied up in that storyline for months. But WWE had other plans, and looking back now, the signs were there if we paid attention. The first hint came during the triple threat match on Monday Night Raw 6 weeks ago. Drew, Cody, and Gunther were tearing the house down, but there was a moment, just a split second, where Drew looked at that undisputed championship around Cody's waist with something that went beyond competitive respect. It was hunger. It was obsession. And it was the beginning of the end for the American Nightmare's reign. Quick question for the comments, did any of you catch that look? Because I'm rewatching that match right now, and it's giving me chills knowing what we know now. Here's where things get absolutely diabolical. Drew McIntyre didn't just decide overnight that he wanted to be champion again. This man orchestrated one of the most calculated championship pursuits in recent memory, and he played everyone, including Cody Rhodes himself. It started with the mind games. Drew began showing up at Cody's matches, not as an opponent, but as a supporter. He'd sit ringside during Cody's defenses, applauding, nodding approvingly, playing the role of the respected veteran showing support for the new champion. Cody bought it. The fans bought it. Hell, even I bought it. But Drew was studying. He was learning every single one of Cody's tendencies, every weakness, every moment of vulnerability. The psychological warfare escalated when Drew started cutting those promos about recognizing greatness and how Cody reminded him of himself during his first championship reign. It seemed wholesome, right? Wrong. Drew was planting seeds of doubt, making Cody question whether he was truly ready for the pressure that comes with being the guy in WWE. And then came the ultimate manipulation, the training sessions. Drew convinced Cody that they should work out together, help each other prepare for their respective feuds. Cody, being the genuine person he is, welcomed the opportunity to learn from a former champion. But Drew wasn't sharing knowledge, he was gathering intelligence. Every workout session was reconnaissance. Every piece of advice was bait. Tell me in the comments, when did you first realize Drew was playing a long game? Because looking back, the red flags were everywhere. WrestlePalooza was supposed to be Cody's crowning achievement. A successful defense against LA Knight in what should have been a celebration of how far both men had come. The match itself was incredible, both competitors gave everything they had, and Cody retained in a match that had the entire arena on their feet. But then Drew McIntyre's music hit. The Scottish Warrior walked to the ring with a microphone, and everyone expected a congratulatory handshake. Instead, we got 15 minutes of the most brutal character assassination I've ever witnessed in professional wrestling. Drew didn't just challenge Cody, he dissected him. He talked about how Cody's championship reign was built on sympathy, how finishing his story was just a feel-good moment that the company used for publicity. The words that still give me goosebumps, you didn't earn this championship, Cody. You inherited it through pity. But I'm going to show you what a real champion looks like. The crowd was stunned into silence. This wasn't heel Drew, this was something darker, something more personal. And when Cody grabbed a microphone to respond, you could see the hurt in his eyes. The man who had overcome every obstacle in his path was suddenly questioning everything he'd accomplished. Fast forward 2 weeks to last night's WrestlePalooza main event, and we witnessed something that I'm still trying to process. This wasn't just a wrestling match, it was a 28-minute masterpiece of storytelling, psychology, and pure athletic brutality that ended in the most controversial finish of the year. The first 15 minutes showcased why both men are considered among the best in the world. Cody's resilience against Drew's raw power created this perfect storm of tension. Every near fall felt like it could be the end. Every submission hold had me convinced someone was about to tap out. The crowd was split right down the middle, with dueling chants that nearly blew the roof off the arena. But then came the moment that changed everything. Cody had Drew beat, and I mean beat. Crossroads connected perfectly, the referee's hand was coming down for 3, and then, the lights went out. When they came back up, there was a masked figure in the ring. Not just any masked figure, someone who moved with the precision and intensity of a trained killer. They laid out Cody with what looked like a modified stunner, disappeared into the crowd, and left Drew McIntyre to capitalize with the Claymore kick for the victory. Who was under that mask? The wrestling world has been speculating for less than 24 hours, and the theories are absolutely wild. Drop your predictions in the comments. Who do you think cost Cody Rhodes the championship? The celebration, if you can call it that, was unlike anything I've ever seen from a new champion. Drew McIntyre didn't celebrate. He didn't raise the championship above his head in triumph. Instead, he sat in the corner of the ring, holding both titles, staring at the unconscious Cody Rhodes with what can only be described as regret mixed with satisfaction. The backstage interviews that followed were even more bizarre. Drew refused to talk about the masked figure, claiming he had no idea who it was or why they interfered. But his body language told a different story. This was a man who got what he wanted but wasn't sure if the price was worth paying. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes was taken to the back for medical evaluation, and the reports coming out are concerning. Sources close to the situation say Cody was asking for the match to be restarted, refusing to accept what had happened. The man who finished his story might have just had that story ripped away from him in the cruelest way possible. Social media has exploded with theories about what really happened, and some of them are absolutely insane. The most popular theory suggests that the masked figure was actually CM Punk, getting revenge on Drew for their previous feud by helping him win the championship in the most tainted way possible. The logic being that Drew would never be able to enjoy his reign knowing it came through Punk's interference. Others are convinced it was Roman Reigns, setting up a storyline where the tribal chief returns to reclaim what he believes is rightfully his. The timing would make sense, given Roman's recent absence and the rumors about his contract negotiations. But here's the theory that's got me convinced: what if it was someone from Cody's own past? Someone who feels betrayed by Cody's success in WWE after they supported him during his independent run? The level of personal animosity required to cost someone their championship reign like that suggests this goes deeper than just wanting Drew to win. Which theory do you buy into? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious about what the wrestling community thinks happened. From a creative standpoint, this decision is either absolutely brilliant or completely catastrophic, and I honestly can't decide which. On one hand, Drew McIntyre as Undisputed Champion brings a different energy to the role. He's a legitimate badass who can make the championship feel important in ways that different from Cody's emotional connection with the audience. But the way this happened feels wrong on so many levels. Cody Rhodes finishing his story was supposed to mean something. It was supposed to represent the idea that persistence and authenticity could overcome corporate politics and predetermined narratives. Having that story end through outside interference feels like WWE reverting to the same old patterns that fans have been complaining about for years. The immediate future is what concerns me most. How do you book Drew McIntyre as champion when his victory is tainted? How do you continue Cody's character arc when he was essentially screwed out of his championship? And what happens when that masked figure reveals themselves and we learn their motivation? This championship change isn't happening in a vacuum. It affects every storyline, every championship picture, and every wrestler's position on the card. LA Knight, who had been building momentum toward another championship opportunity, now has to completely pivot his character direction. The entire SmackDown roster has to adjust to a new champion with a completely different style and approach. But it's the fans who are really feeling the impact. Social media has been a war zone since last night, with hashtag Justice for Cody trending worldwide and hashtag Drew Deserves Better fighting for relevance. The wrestling community is more divided than I've seen it in years, and that division is either going to create incredible engagement or drive fans away from the product entirely. I've been getting messages all day from viewers asking whether they should keep watching WWE after this. Some feel betrayed by how Cody's reign ended. Others are excited to see what Drew does with the championship. The passion on both sides is undeniable, but passion can turn toxic quickly in today's social media environment. What's your honest reaction? Are you excited for Drew's reign or heartbroken for Cody? Because I'm seeing both emotions everywhere I look. Let's talk about Drew McIntyre as Undisputed Champion, because regardless of how he won, he's now the guy in WWE. His previous championship reigns were impressive, but they happened during the pandemic era when crowds were limited. This is Drew's first time holding the company's top championship in front of full arenas with unlimited creative possibilities. The man has everything you want in a champion: size, charisma, in-ring ability, and that rare combination of intensity and likability that makes him believable as both a hero and a villain. But can he carry the company as the top champion when his victory came through controversial circumstances? That's the million-dollar question that will define the next several months of WWE programming. Drew's promo skills have always been underrated. He can cut a passionate babyface promo that makes you want to run through a wall, or deliver a cold-blooded heel speech that sends chills down your spine. With the Undisputed Championship, he has the platform to showcase those skills on the biggest stage possible. The immediate question is obvious: what happens next? Cody Rhodes deserves a rematch, but will WWE give it to him right away or make him work his way back to a championship opportunity? Drew McIntyre needs to establish himself as a fighting champion, but how do you do that when your first victory was tainted by outside interference? And then there's the masked figure, whose identity could reshape the entire landscape of WWE. If it's CM Punk, we're looking at a potential triple threat dynamic that could dominate programming for months. If it's Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief's return becomes even more impactful. If it's someone completely unexpected, WWE has the opportunity to create a new main event player overnight. The championship picture is wide open in a way it hasn't been in years. Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Gunther, and LA Knight all have legitimate claims to championship opportunities. The next few months could see some incredible matches and storylines as everyone positions themselves for a shot at Drew's championship. Here's my honest assessment of everything that happened. WWE took a massive risk with this booking decision, and we won't know if it paid off for several months. They had a beloved champion in Cody Rhodes who was connecting with audiences in ways that few champions ever do. Trading that for the unknown quantity of Drew's reign could be seen as either bold creative thinking or a fundamental misunderstanding of what their audience wanted. But wrestling is about creating moments that people remember, and last night's finish is going to be discussed for years to come. Whether those discussions are positive or negative remains to be seen, but the passion and engagement it's creating suggests WWE succeeded in making people care about their product. The truth is, both Cody and Drew deserve better than the circumstances that led to this championship change. Cody deserved to lose his championship in a way that honored everything he accomplished during his reign. Drew deserved to win his championship in a way that felt triumphant rather than tainted. But professional wrestling has never been about what wrestlers deserve, it's about creating compelling television that keeps people watching. This is where you come in. The wrestling community's reaction to this championship change is going to influence how WWE books both Drew and Cody going forward. Your comments, your engagement, your passion for these characters and storylines directly impacts the creative decisions that affect their careers. So I want to hear from you. What did you think of Drew McIntyre defeating Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship? Are you excited for what comes next, or are you disappointed in how Cody's reign ended? Who do you think was under that mask, and what does their involvement mean for the future of WWE? More importantly, where do you want to see these storylines go from here? Should Cody get an immediate rematch? Should Drew have to prove himself as champion by defending against multiple challengers? How should WWE handle the mystery of the masked figure's identity? Your answers to these questions aren't just comments on a YouTube video, they're part of the larger conversation that shapes professional wrestling. So make your voice heard, share this video with other wrestling fans, and let's keep this discussion going. The championship has changed hands, but the story is far from over. Drew McIntyre is your new undisputed champion, but the circumstances of his victory guarantee that this is just the beginning of what promises to be one of the most controversial and compelling championship reigns in recent memory. What happens next is anyone's guess, but one thing is certain: the wrestling world will never be the same after what happened at WrestlePalooza.